Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Um, Big stock market drop today, just like we talked about last night. It got even worse than the after hours yesterday. Apple down close to 10%, wiping off over 300 billion from their market cap. That's just Apple. We did have trillions wiped off the value of stock holdings in the United States directly because of Trump's tariff announcements yesterday. So that's a direct hit to people's retirements, people's money, people's confidence that they could buy a house, buy a car. People make assumptions that their investments will grow, not shrink. When things are down 20% in some cases from December to the first few days of April, that's problematic. People are waking up. People like CNBC anchors. It is just always funny to me what the trigger is for people to finally come around on Trump. Um, Whatever it is, it's. I mean, the lies never bother them. The idiocy never bothers them. The the sheer just like lack of intelligence or sharpness or ability to speak and make sense. Uh, the inability to do those things don't bother his people, but maybe something does. And often things that used to bother people about him, given enough time, given enough lies, given enough repetition, they come around. Like the January 6th. That was just an absolute no, never again. We are done with him. He cannot overthrow the government of the United States. We are so done. That was the tipping point for so many of his supporters. But 4 years later, almost, they're fine with it. They came around. The pardoning of criminals does not bother these people. Deporting people does not bother these people until they have one neighbor or one coworker or one significant portion of workforce at their company that affects them or that they know personally. That's the thing about dealing with people like Trump, people that hate, people that lie. He generalizes, and we all generalize as people, but when you take it down to the specific, that is when it leaves a mark. When you hit people's investment accounts, that's when it leaves a mark. And then when he comes on today and says everything's great, tariffs are going great, when his commerce secretary comes on and keeps talking about what a brilliant businessman he is, even though he has 6 bankruptcies for his companies, people see this. These are the lies that people are okay with until they're not, until it hits them personally. This is a big one. So are losing workers at companies. Those are a big one. People have been losing coworkers at their jobs. Suddenly they're not there in some cases, or they know they're not going to be there. Some cases these people are not. It doesn't mean ICE came to their door in the middle of the night, but it means people are scared, people are panicked, and they might be scared to go to work now. So they just stop showing up. And they're not going to tell anyone where they've gone. They might just be sitting at home, or they might be going to a relative's house or something. People will just be disappearing, whether it's being disappeared by Trump's whatever goons, or because they just don't want to take their chances anymore, or maybe they want to go find somewhere else. Now, does any of this bother Trump? Absolutely not. He just wants these people gone. He wants them out. But when we see a couple of weeks ago, 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, that the state of Florida was looking at revising their child labor laws to make up for the gap that immigrant labor has now created, the loss of immigrant labor. So Florida wants to make it okay for younger people to work late into the night or overnight in some cases, because there are state laws in Florida against child labor that you can't work a certain number of hours, or you can't work past a certain hour at night or before a certain hour of the day. So Florida says, hey, they're just kids. I mean, these are the things that the United States as a country came up with laws against over 100 years ago, and this is what we are relegated to now. And then with tariffs themselves, these are things. Tariffs, we have a higher tariff rate, like officially after these announcements yesterday. If they do continue with this will be a higher tariff burden, a higher tariff rate for things coming into the United States now than we had even in the Smoot-Hawley 1930s tariff acts, which led to the Great Depression, which led to World War II in part because of the global depression and how that was affecting Germany. These people never learned. This happened 90 years ago, and these lessons are not learned. So seeing CNBC anchors today, not the ones, there were a few that were already anti-Trump, but seeing the ones that are just always in the tank for Trump, like, oh wow, this is bad. This is a bad economic idea. This is because those people just own the heck out of stocks, and they've been getting killed for over 3 months now, and now today getting killed at the level of the last 3 months combined, all in one day, in the safest of safe stocks that were already down 10% on the year. Now they're down 20%. These people, they live for money. They live for stock returns. And their hero, their king, is doing them wrong. He's not going to back down. As someone who always backs down is the two Kentucky senators and the senators from Maine and Alaska. And there was a big hubbub about they were helping the Senate get a bill to overturn the Canada tariffs, and they're getting credit for standing up to Trump. These are the people who were looked to, the two women anyway, to block Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court. They what they always do is this: they have constituents. They have to answer to their voters at home, so they go in ahead of time. They make sure that whatever little stand they're going to make occasionally isn't going to actually have any effect on anything. So in this case, we've got four GOP senators who sided with the Democrats in this bill to get it out of the Senate and over to the House. There's no way the House ever passes that bill. And even if they did, Trump already said he's not signing that bill. So this is a calculated move by these people who answer to their constituents who, I mean, don't know if you know geography, but Maine and Alaska kind of have a lot riding on commerce with Canada. So their people are pissed about this. They are calling and writing their senators every day to do something about it. So what do? They check ahead of time. They make sure it's not going to actually pass, and then they support it. There's nothing to it other than that. So don't give any credit to Collins or Murkowski on this. This is ridiculous. I'm kind of fired up about this. I actually pulled out of stocks for the most part at the start of January. I just had a feeling that things were going to get real ugly real quick. So waited till after the calendar year to not take the tax hit, but just basically dumped pretty much everything. Not that we have a ton, but we had some. Got out of most things, thinking this is going to be terrible. And it's not going to be terrible for a month. It's not going to be terrible for a few months. It's going to be terrible for a long time. And we are seeing that right now. I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not telling anyone to sell your stocks. I'm not doing that. First of all, you may already be down 10 or 20% or more. So maybe the damage is done. Maybe just hang on to it now and wait for it to come back up. I don't know. I'm not giving anyone any advice here, but but this is not a surprise to a lot of people. Certainly not to me. Um, I don't know. I can laugh at it because I'm not losing thousands or millions of dollars like a lot of people are. Um, but but when the people who have helped him get elected, people like Elon Musk and people like CNBC anchors, people like Fox News anchors are turning on him because it's hitting their own pocketbooks. I just love that so much. And in that respect, I I just love all of this economic carnage that's happening in the short term just to harm those people. The problem is there are a lot of people who had nothing to do with this who are being harmed too. And when we can't laugh at those people, but I can take some joy in the Trumpers who are getting pummeled right now. And they will come around slowly but surely. Some of them will. When the media starts turning on him, in his corners of the media, then we can start to see some pullback. Then he'll back down like he always does. So in the meantime, I would say just hang on, and this will be over probably fairly shortly. I would hope. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what I'm thinking about today. Hope everyone is doing all right, and we'll talk later.